Okay. This is look good. Can people see us? It looks okay. We can start? Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. My name is Leslie Hu. I'm the community school coordinator and social worker at MLK Middle School and secretary of the United Educators of San Francisco. We're here today to talk about the atrocious budget plan put forth by SFUSD management to be voted on tonight by the Board of Education. We will hear from parents, educators, and UESF President Cassandra Curiel. On the Friday before Lunar New Year, SFUSD management sent 411 potential layoff notices to classroom teachers, paraeducators, including family liaisons, community health outreach workers, and social workers. The layoff notices were not necessary and caused demoralization for educators who are in the midst of their hardest year yet. This is over 6% of our workforce. In a city where there is over $100 million budget surplus, in a time where public education is hemorrhaging educators. These kind of layoffs destroy school communities and do a deep disservice to our students. Today, the Board of Education will vote to send out layoff notices in accordance to the budget balancing plan they adopted in December that made cuts to classrooms and services to students, completely disregarding the opportunity they had to cut unrepresented top management that is steps away from students. They don't need to cut any services to students. They can tonight, in a way, find a way to maintain our school communities fundings in a difficult time for us all. They must find a way to fund schools first and stop the layoffs. We will be hearing from educators and parents today about the terrible impacts these cuts have on our students and our school communities. We will first hear from Sean Nunley Willis, the Vice President of Paraeducators of San Francisco and a paraeducator working in educator support and development in SFUSD. He received a preliminary layoff notice.
Good morning. Paraeducators are crucial to student, family, and community development. Paras have worked so closely with our most vulnerable students at crucial times during the educational experience. They support day-to-day functions, attendance, behavior, and health and wellness. Many live or are raised in the communities they support. This relational and cultural connection is key. During the transition to crisis distance learning, paras rose to the challenge of that chaotic time to ensure family and student needs were met. Now, as we enter our new normal, supports are needed even more to ensure that our students get what they needed. Any reduction or elimination to these supports would be devastating. How does our district expect students to thrive when these trusted adults have been ripped from them? This will only cause more stress and trauma at a time that our students should be focusing on healing. Our leadership and decision makers have chosen to fix their budget mismanagement on the backs of the lowest paid employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Next, we will be hearing from Yahaira Huapio, the social worker at Visitation Valley Elementary School, who along with 24 other social workers received a preliminary layoff notice.
Thank you, Leslie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yahaira Huapio, and I've been the school social worker at Visitation Valley Elementary for the past 3 years. If you know my school community, you'll know that we are vibrant, resilient, full of joy and wonder. My students and families trust me and often reach out to me during some of the most hardest moments in their lives, seeking basic resources like food and shelter and access to mental health services, which is really needed right now. My colleagues rely on my clinical skills and also my skills as a social worker to be able to problem solve and ensure that students are safe, that they're healthy, and that they're ready to learn. Because what we know as educators is that if our students do not have basic access to what they need and to their mental health, then they cannot engage fully in the classroom. In our school district, it's without a doubt that school social workers and counselors have always had a full caseload of students who need access to social and emotional assistance. But since the pandemic, the need for social workers is even greater than ever in our district. We need more, not fewer, social workers and counselors. I simply don't understand the priorities in the district. To lay off so many social workers and counselors is sending a message to students and families that the district really doesn't care about you. Just figure out your problems and navigate this on your own. That's irresponsible and not how a big city school district should operate. It's just stunning. Last week, one of my third graders said to me, after we were having a little lunch bunch group, she said, "Miss Yahira, we need more of you in our school." And we all smiled and laughed. I agree with her. School communities need more so that we can continue the work of healing and growth in our schools. Fund our schools.
Thank you, Yahira. Educators, parents, students, and community members are invited to sign the petition to fund schools first, no layoffs at bit.ly/fund schools first. Petitions and letters will be submitted to district management, including Dr. Matthews, Mia Lee, and Megan Wallace, as well as the Board of Ed Commissioners. Our next speaker this morning is Aaron Aguilar, a sixth grade educator at Willie Brown Middle School in his third year of teaching, who also received a preliminary layoff notice.
Good morning, good morning. As I was just introduced, my name is Aaron Aguilar. I'm a sixth grade humanities teacher at Willie Brown. And I just wanted to speak quickly about the impact that teachers have on students' lives. Every single person listening here has had some meaningful either moment or relationship with a teacher at some point in their lives. We not only act as educators, but we also are often social workers, surrogate parents, nutrition experts, and just anything that a child needs in their life at that moment. A particular example I had of this is, as a sixth grade teacher 2 years ago, one of my students who was normally very bright, friendly, had a vivacious personality, I noticed he was troubled. And he finally ended up sharing with me during the lunch period some of the things that were on his heart. He let me know that his stepfather was going to trial. He was going to be in court. He was very worried about whether or not he would be freed. He also shared with me that his mother was worried about being evicted from her home. And he'd been dealing with those concerns, with those worries for a little while. And so the fact that he had the trust in me to be able to share with me those difficulties really meant a lot to me. One, I shared that moment with him. I shared a few tears with him as he expressed what he was going through with me. But also, I was pleased because even though I myself did not have the answers, I was able to connect him in with people like our social workers, with people that have different resources at our school, to be able to help him find some answers that he needed. Without that access point of trust and love that teachers provide, I wonder how many students would be left with difficult answers or difficult questions that they can't find answers to. And so we need to make a priority of funding our schools, keeping our teachers, keeping our paraeducators, keeping our social workers, so that way kids can have all of the resources that they need, especially in this trying time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. We're going to hear next from Scott and Allison Eddie Brogman, parents at Francisco Middle School, whose children are being directly impacted and affected by the cuts to classrooms.
Morning. My name is Allison. This is my husband, Scott. We're the parents of an SFUSD 8th grader. And I want to tell you this morning about two people who have guided our child through their years within the district, but who the district now says should lose their jobs. Ms. Bailey is the family liaison at Tenderloin Community School, just a few blocks from here, where our child attended from pre-K through 5th. Ms. Bailey is truly the heart of TCS. She knows every student and every parent. She runs everything from the Black History Read Aloud to the Mother's Day brunch. By laying off Ms. Bailey and the other support staff, the district is deliberately breaking apart the community of Tenderloin Community School. And as we just heard from Mr. Aguilar, teachers are also supporting our students. Ms. Penny is a math teacher at Francisco Middle, where our student now attends. And last year, she started the school's first LGBTQ+ club. Queer kids like ours now have one safe place once a week where they feel respected and loved, away from bullying and homophobia that the school's administration has refused to address. The students of Rainbow Rams submitted a petition asking to keep Miss Penny, who has only positive job reviews from her principal and from parents. Without Miss Penny, Francisco will lose an excellent math teacher and the school's strongest ally for LGBTQ+ students. As the parents of a queer child who relies every day on support staff, I am begging the Board of Ed to reject these layoffs and prove that SFUSD truly is student-centered.
Thank you so much, Scott and Allison, for your heartfelt words. Thank you. We so appreciate all the parents who are speaking up for their school communities in order to stand with you today. We're going to be hearing more from 3 more parents shortly. Before we hear from those parents, we're going to hear from the family liaison at Abraham Lincoln High School, Valerie Chen Yin, who, like many family liaisons, are a critical connection between families and educators, and received a preliminary layoff notice.
I'm a Valerie working in Lincoln High School as a parent liaison. If you believe in supporting the students, their families, and school educators, you would not lay off family liaisons. We help bridge the gap between students and educators. 喺呢度咧，好多謝我哋三藩市校區嘅工會，俾我有機會發表我嘅意見。希望三藩市聯合校區嘅董事會會員明白我哋響學校有好多移民嘅學生，同埋家長都係唔會識英文，亦都唔知道同埋唔了解我哋美國嘅公立學校嘅教育制度。作為家長聯絡員，身負重任。去為學生、家長同埋我哋教育嘅工作者去建築呢個橋梁，令到佢哋有機會去互相溝通、互相幫助，同埋共同努力咁樣去培養啲學生，順利咁取得呢個高中畢業文憑，進入大學嘅而深造。我哋家長聯絡員不但要幫助呢個老師同埋家長。仲要幫埋啲學生，如果啲學生咧佢哋有啲問題，特別係響學校出現呢個學習嘅問題，我哋都要聯絡佢哋，要設立呢個家長嘅會議，同佢哋解釋，希望咧學生能夠知道佢哋要攞啲咩分數去畢業，同埋要攞啲咩分數去考入大學。仲有咧呢一段時間 ，Covid 呢個時間咧，我哋有好多學生咧有呢個 思想、精神嘅分裂症。咁咧，我哋作為家長聯絡員咧，我哋都要去同個家長要同學生討論，同埋仲要聯繫我哋學校嘅健康部嘅顧問，要同呢啲學生去分析，同佢哋解決佢哋嘅思想問題，仲要提供俾家長所有社工嘅各方面嘅資源俾佢哋。仲有咧，我哋仲要幫助學校嘅教導主任去解決啲學生遇到響學校違規嘅問題。要幫助佢哋解釋呢個學校嘅規章程度，亦都要解釋俾佢哋聽我哋美國嘅法例，希望佢哋咧知道自己做錯喺邊度，能夠及時咁樣去改正。我哋咧個工作咧係好繁瑣，每一日咧都會接到好多老師、顧問同埋呢個教導主任佢哋啲 email 嗰啲電子郵訊，仲有家長嘅電話、家長嘅微信。我哋都要幫佢哋翻譯，幫佢哋同學校講，又要同家長講。所以我覺得家長聯絡員喺我哋校區，喺我哋呢個學校係好需要嘅，因為我哋係識得佢哋嘅語言，我哋知道佢哋嘅文化程度同埋呢個風俗習慣，我哋係好幫助佢哋，而佢哋咧亦都係離唔開我哋嘅幫助，佢哋都係好需要我哋去幫到佢哋啲細蚊仔去成功。喺呢度，我仲好希望你哋作為校區嘅董事會、校區嘅執政會會員，希望你哋要謹慎去考慮清楚，應唔應該去取消我哋家長聯絡員。多謝。
Thank you so much, Valerie. Before we hear from Cassandra Curiel, we'll be joined by 3 parents from Lincoln High School who will be speaking on the impacts of these cuts on their school community and their own children. Mingyan Wang, Jennifer Yip, and Peony Yu.
Hello, good morning, everybody. 我哋係林坑高中雙語學生家長代表兼主席，我個名係 Peony Yu。我喺呢度代表家長們提交請願信。當我哋聽到學校有辭會雙語聯絡員Miss Cheng 嘅消息，感到十分震驚和不安。
My name is Peony Yu. I am a parent from a student from Lincoln School, and this is to present to the board of director. It's a petition letter to present to the board of director, to the school principal and vice principal, and so on. And how are you doing? I am a parent from a bilingual student, and I'm also the chairperson. And my name is Man Hong Yu, or I'm also known as Peony Yu. I am here standing here to present our petition letter. As I when I listened and I hear that the school district intend to lay off our bilingual coordinator, Miss Chan, I feel very shocked and uneasy.
因為陳老師係我哋雙語會同家長嘅救星，冇佢嘅幫助，我哋係無法同學校溝通所有嘅問題。佢係為我哋家長建立溝通嘅橋梁。
I want to petition for her because it's not it's not untrue to say that Miss Chen has been a bilingual parent savior. Without her help, we won't be able to communicate with the school, and she has been our bridge to bridge communication between we parents and the school district.
因為新移民嘅家長同學生嚟到陌生嘅地方，語言不通，對新環境嘅教育方式唔了解，仲有好多啦嚇。當學生有時請假，我哋打電話去學校辦公室請假，好多家長唔識英文，根本聽唔到老師喺度我哋講乜嘢。
Because we new immigrant when we come to this country as parents, we were unable to communicate with the school about our concerns, and she as our coordinator helped build up a bridge between us and the school district, and will help us to understand the new environment and this education system here and so on. For instance, when a student has to have a sick leave, we call the office to communicate with the office. But a lot of parents does not know how to say English, and they basically won't understand what the teachers were talking about, and they also don't understand text messages, and they may not know how to send text message and emails.
我哋唯有請陳老師幫手。陳老師對工作係非常之認真盡職，工作效率快而全面，為我哋家長解答所有嘅疑難問題。佢好十分了解中國嘅文化同環境，固然佢有利於幫助小朋友嘅上進心探討而做出顯著嘅成績。
And that's why we rely on the help of Miss Chen, and Miss Chen's very hardworking and very good helper and efficient worker, and too. She would answer all the questions posed by we parents. She also understands the Chinese culture very well. She understands the environment here. That's why it's been very helpful for our children to make progress and to be able to explore their opportunity and then to perform very well academically.
如果真係要辭去雙語聯絡員呢個職位，我哋將面臨無法知道孩子們喺學校嘅行為動向。當學生出現問題，情緒唔穩定，我陳老師嘅引導同埋鼓勵，好多學生會產生厭學嘅情緒，不是進取而誤入歧途。
In the event our Miss Chen or the position of bilingual liaison, this position is eliminated, we'll face the reality that we won't know exactly what is going on with our children at school. Whenever there are problems happening regarding our students, if they are unstable in their emotions, without Miss Chan's help and encouragement, a lot of students would become unhappy and they won't want to study anymore. And worse, they can go astray as well.
因此，陳老師呢個執係我哋不可缺少嘅。佢對工作盡忠盡職，人人都知道嘅。佢嘅積極與付出，體現出佢對工作嘅高度熱誠。我哋家長們建議你哋即係後區啊、董事會啊，留翻聲語嚟我哋。陳老師繼續為我哋學校服務。Thank you.
That's why the position that Ms. Chen hold is irreplaceable, and her sincerity and hard working is well known to everybody. She's very proactive and have contributed a lot to her work. We parents is petitioning that the school district will keep the position of bilingual liaison and to keep Ms. Chen to continue to work and contribute to the school. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
大家早上好，尊敬嘅三藩市林肯高中學校董事會校長、副校長，三藩市聯合校區董事會校區總監，你好，你哋好，我係 Angeline 嘅媽咪。今年雖然我個仔就要畢業啦，喺林肯高中呢幾年得到中文研究員嘅幫助，係一件令人高興嘅事。因為我哋係新移民家庭。
So the respectful principal, the board of director of Lincoln School, to the vice principal, the San Francisco Unified School District board of directors. How are you doing? I am Andrew Lin's mother. Even though my son is about to graduate in Abraham Lincoln High School, in the past few years, I have received a lot of help from our bilingual liaison. It has been a very happy matter because we are new immigrants. We come from immigrant background.
嚟到新嘅環境，語言不通係一件多麼困難嘅事情。
Coming to this new environment, we are unable to communicate in English. It has been a very difficult matter.
無論邊一個新移民家庭都需要一個能為我哋發聲嘅聯絡員，佢係我哋學校嘅。佢係我哋嘅拐杖，我哋需要佢。
No matter which new immigrant family, we do need someone who can voice out for us, a liaison, a bilingual liaison, who can voice out for us. And she's literally like our plane. We need a family liaison to help us.
不要因為預算減少而將一個懂得中國習俗文化傳統嘅家庭聯絡員取消，係不合理同埋不公平嘅。我哋華人家長們都很依賴家庭聯絡員，因為我哋不懂英文。美國係一個移民大國，係一個民主自由嘅國家，不能扼殺我哋嘅訴求。
If just because of budget cut and our valuable helper, bilingual liaison, who understand our culture, understand our tradition, her position got eliminated. This is unfair and unreasonable. We Chinese parents, our family, rely heavily on help provided to us by the family liaison because we don't understand English. The US is an immigrant country. It's a democratic free country. Our rights should not be ignored.
好多家長都為自己嘅仔女爭取自己嘅權益，希望校長體諒新移民我哋嘅難處處境，不要取消雙語聯絡員。在此，好多謝為我哋爭取權益嘅 Miss 春老師，感謝一直以嚟你為我哋服務，在此多謝你，至此敬禮，家長崔邊耶。
So I believe a lot of family, a lot of parents, for the right of their children and to right as a parent, would like the principal to understand our situation as new immigrants, and please do not eliminate the position of a bilingual liaison. And I want to stand here to express gratitude for those people who fight for our right, and to Miss Chen, and extend my thanks to her for her help for so long. And my name is Ray Ping Ye.
Thank you.
Hello， 大家好。美國係一個移民嘅國家。
How are you doing, everybody? The US is an immigrant country.
當我哋移民到一個陌生嘅環境嘅時候咧，會遇到各種嘅問題，尤其係細路仔嘅教育。
As we move to a country, a new country, we will run into a lot of problems, in particular, the education of our children.
記得我個仔啱啱入到南港高中嘅時候咧，由於個語言關未適應，所以咧每門功課都唔合格。
I still recall the first year that my son enrolled in Lincoln School. Because of the language barrier, he ran into a lot of difficulties and ending in a lot of subjects unable to pass.
因此佢就產生咗強烈嘅厭學情緒，經常逃學。當時
she developed an emotion, trying not to go to school and actually absent from class.
當時我好彷徨，即係唔知道點算好。
I was very confused and shocked at that time, and not knowing what to do about it.
後來一個偶然機會，聽其他家長講，學校有一位姓陳嘅家長聯絡員，佢專門係幫助一啲有問題嘅學生。
On one occasion, I talked with other parents and learned that there is a bilingual liaison, Miss Chen, who is Chinese speaking and able to help us Chinese speaking parents.
因此我走去學校揾陳老師，陳老師就好熱情咁接待我，佢耐心咁向我了解情況，然後佢主動聯絡我個仔，向佢耐心引導佢改變學習態度。
So I decided that I went to the school to find Miss Chen and was able to talk with her. And after the conversation, she proactively seek out my son and then offer help to him. And then he was able to develop a positive attitude in studying and become a better student.
陳老師係一個好有愛心、好有責任嘅家長聯絡員。無論你幾時遇到問題，要揾佢幫忙，就算係晚黑，你都可以打電話俾佢，佢都會樂意幫我哋解決問題。
Miss Chan has been a very responsible and proactive parent bilingual liaison. She is always ready to help, even when you call her in the evening. She is going to help you.
喺陳老師悉心嘅幫助下，我個仔嘅成績進步好快。後來咧，基本上每一門學科都可以攞到 A。高中畢業嗰時候咧，就俾 UC Davis 錄取咗。
With help from Miss Chan, my son made a lot of progress and received very good grades. And with the progress, eventually, upon graduation, he was able to go on to UC Davis, and it was quite a success.
可以講，如果冇阿陳老師嘅幫忙，就冇我仔今日嘅成功。
I can say that without Miss Chan's help, there may not be the success for my son later on.
陳老師有30幾年嘅豐富嘅工作經驗，佢對學生盡心盡力。我哋學校同埋家長好需要一位咁負責任、咁專業嘅人士。
Miss Chan has over 30 years of work experience. She's been a super responsible and devoted worker. The school district really need to retain workers of this caliber to continue to serve the school community.
所以我懇請校區嘅領導能夠俾陳老師繼續留喺學校，去幫助一啲有需要嘅學生。多謝。
That's why I sincerely appeal to the school authority to keep teachers like Ms. Chen to continue to allow her to be able to continue to serve the school community.
Thank you so much to our amazing parents. You can obviously see how much they love and need our amazing family liaison for Valerie. Finally, I would like to introduce the United Educators of San Francisco. Sorry, let me start over. Finally, I would like to introduce the United Educators of San Francisco President and Middle School Educator, Cassandra Curiel.
Hi, good morning. I'm Cassandra Curiel, President of United Educators of San Francisco. Hopefully what you've heard today is a broad swath of parents, educators, families, and from educators themselves at the school site. The school district sent out over 400 layoff notices, or preliminary notice of layoffs on the Lunar New Year weekend. Tonight, they will be discussing a number of ways to address the cuts that they voted to proceed with in December. While we know that the school district faces a $120 million deficit, we also know that the state of California itself is in a budget surplus. Previous to this weekend, we heard $46 billion surplus. This morning, we find out that it's an additional $23 billion of surplus on top of that $46 billion. So what you feel here locally at the school level, family liaisons, community health outreach workers, social workers, classroom educators, paraprofessionals who work directly with students, who perform services at the school site that are integral to families feeling like they belong at the community, students feeling like these educators who run programs and clubs outside of our work duties that help students to feel like they belong, like they feel safe, and they enjoy learning. These positions should not be on the cutting block to balance the school district's budget on the backs of what is essentially the students. The students are the central purpose for which we come to work every single day. We are here to educate San Francisco's youth from pre-K all the way through early ed, up even beyond to 22. We have educators at all levels working directly with students day in and day out, communicating with families and making sure that we're part of the process together. We are a team. What we're faced with now is management's budget balancing plan on the backs of workers that work directly with students, people who make connections with students, the people in the room actually teaching the students. And in this most difficult years, we've heard over and over, so many consequences from the pandemic still in effect, is that students need more. They need more support. They need more help. They need more time. They need more one-on-one teaching. They need more social workers, more counselors, more help. And educators feel the same way. We need more. Our social workers need an additional help. Our family liaisons need more of each other in order to reach out to every single family that's in need. Our public schools in San Francisco need more, not less. And when we look to fill the $120 million deficit, or in this case, what's being posed as 10% cuts from school sites, what this really translates as is that principals, educators, and families have to sit at a table together to decide which of them here will be cut. This puts an undue burden on the school community to solve the management's problem. We didn't put us in this situation. Students did not run up a debt. They deserve every single second of our time and our help. They deserve to be able to say, I need some help from the social worker. Mr. Aguilar, can I go see my counselor, please? And instead, what they're faced with and the information that families, students, educators, school workers, principals are faced with is decisions of what they must cut, what they must go without. They should not have to pay for this debt. They should not have to suffer the consequences of purported under-enrollment over years and years of what we actually know the problem is. These are symptoms of a chronic disease of underfunding of education in the entire state of California. These are the symptoms that students are having to suffer through each day that they don't get something that they need. And it trickles all the way to the local level, where San Francisco, when itself has a budget surplus and is looking to see an increase in ERAF funding in the coming year. And instead we'll watch as its schools are starved. We'll watch as kindergarten classes and early education classes are starved, despite the fact that the state of California has infused funding for these programs. Despite the fact that we as educators ourselves are working with each other, families and principals, to pressure the school district to apply for community schools funding. Community schools funding alone would bring millions and millions of dollars of relief to each school site in order to fund the very positions you've heard today. Family liaisons, community health outreach workers, social workers, additional counselors. Does your student need more time after school tutoring? Community schools can do that. The funding from community schools can provide the resources that everyone needs in order to help our students in San Francisco be successful, to feel like they love being at school, to enjoy learning, and to feel like they're challenged and that they can meet the time of that challenge because they have help behind them, because they have help next to them, because the person in the room with them, teaching them, can survive in this city and maintain their position at their school site, build community and connection. We are doing everything possible. Educators, families, everything possible to pressure the state, the city, everyone to understand that this problem of funding our schools first is an absolute necessity, not an option. We must fund schools first. The school board must reject these layoffs to the actual positions that will help our students, to people that work directly with students. They are offsetting these costs and balancing budgets, right-sizing a debt that students didn't run up. And it's unacceptable. We're watching the school board tonight to ensure that that is made clear, that this school district should not move forward with any layoffs. And that's not even starting on the absolute dire situation of teacher shortage that we are about to be hit with. We have resignations every single day in this district, vacancies that have been unfilled for months. Teachers who are getting layoff notices, knowing that at the room next door to them, that position has been sub after sub, or themselves having to cover a class. Those students have not received what they deserved at all. And that is not for trying. The teacher shortage that is hit California and the nation across is an absolute emergency. Any layoff at this point is going to rock a school community from its ability to plan and its ability to attract, hire, and maintain a school community that is stable for students. No layoffs should happen at all. And we need to fund schools first. Thank you.
Just clarify what the vote is tonight. Clarify for us what the actual vote is tonight.
There may be many votes that impact this. But at this point, the vote for pink slip or layoff probably won't come for another week or so. They do get to direct their staff, however, in being more detailed about the list of potential layoffs, or direct them in directions where other funding sources potentially could offset those costs. And our main issue here is if those services and those costs are associated with direct student services, then that should be the last thing on the table.
Sorry, thank you, Cassandra. All speakers will be available for interviews following a few short announcements. The Board of Education will be meeting tonight, and as always, we encourage educators, parents, and students to join, and community to join and speak up to demand that they fund schools first and to stop the layoff. All educators, parents, students, and family members are invited to sign the petition to fund schools first, no layoffs, at bit.ly/fund schools first, all one word and all lowercase. Petitions and letters will be submitted to district management, including Dr. Matthews, Myung Lee, and Maggie Wallace, as well as the Board of Education Commissioners. Thank you all for being here and standing in solidarity with our students.
I just wanted to clarify, it sounds like your message really is not just to the school board, but really it's a broader message, and that's what you've been trying to emphasize, that while you're asking the school board to make this very immediate decision for how things go for San Francisco, this is a decision of a much larger problem that really needs to be resolved at the state level.
Both things are true, right? There is an absolute necessity and urgency at this local level for the board itself and the management to come to terms with what needs to be done in this moment. The school budget issues are real. That's true. And what the coming crisis looks like is also very real. And that's a puzzle piece that is only in local control. On a broader level, like you mentioned, California is suffering from, public schools are suffering from underfunding, decades and decades and decades of underfunding. And that deserves to have its own place in the call out. We are not separate and above at all from our beloved neighbors in Oakland, who are suffering right now from what we could be looking at in a couple of years were this to continue, right? This is the same that's true for a lot of large public school systems in California that are burdened with less funding than what our students actually need. And at a time when California itself is projecting massive surpluses in funding, this is a critical issue. Both things go hand in hand, but the local level first is who needs to solve this issue right now.
I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna invite everybody. All of our speakers are right here and available for comment, so please feel free to do that. Thank you all.